just there. Yeah, maybe you can get him just... Look at those horns, aren't they spectacular? He's a member of the spiraled horned antelope family. He's the second largest antelope in Africa, second to the eland. Probably the most spectacular horns out of all of them. And a male will weigh up to about anywhere up to 650 pounds. Very, very beautiful, elegant antelope, and just skulking away sort of into the vegetation there. I really love them. I do love antelope. I love all the hoofed animals. I love everything. I love it all. It's just an absolute pleasure to be here. On this fine Mother's Day, we've got a magnificent sunset going to happen. I just want to give you a sensory update, which I like to do to give you a little bit of an idea of not just what it looks like here, but what it smells like, the temperature as well, which is about 27 degrees Celsius. It was, just when we saw you last, about 83 Fahrenheit. It's cooling down considerably now, but that's what it was when we started. And that heat is not the time of the day that cats like to be active, but this sort of temperature now is much more pleasurable for them, a lot cooler. And I also want to give you a little bit of a sensory update on the old nose, or the sense of smell. When this time of the afternoon arrives, you start to get a little bit more moist air. Not too much, but enough that you get an emission of plant scents. And particularly when you're following elephant or antelope that are, or buffalo for that matter, that are churning up the grass, you'll get these beautiful scents of like herbaceous sort of plants and the grass. Really special smell from the African bush. I smell it every time that I come back here, and when I do smell it, it's just that. It really makes you know. I can smell it right now. It's a gorgeous sort of cross between oat and hay, if you've ever been on a farm, and if you grab a bunch of herbs in a supermarket and mix those together, you get that lovely, lovely waft or smell in your nose. And when you're around animals like elephant, you get a little taste of sort of that smell. Oh, you taste, sorry, a sense of that smell, not a taste of that smell. A little waft of that as well, so it all mixes up. I just want to go over to Treehouse Dam and have a look. At this time of the afternoon, sometimes we get leopard drinking or lion drinking or elephant drinking for that matter, but it's just a water hole that's quite close to us, so we'll just go and have a quick check of that. And remember, if you've got any shout outs that you want to do for your mum on the other side of the world, or the other side of America, anywhere, please let us know, and we'll be more than happy to try and get a few more out. Okay, when we get up to the next junction, I'm going to take a right, and that's going to take us to Treehouse Dam. And anything could happen there. I've turned up there before. There has been elephant coming right down to drink, and I've turned up before then, there's nothing, and just waited 5 minutes and things happen. So we just don't know. And I think that's one of the special things about the bush, is looking at the different signs and the tracks and a little bit of information that you can pick up. I just drove past some dung that was scattered on a bush up close to the road, and if you didn't know what it was, you wouldn't know that those particular animals were in the area. Now Pete has just been with those animals, and that is actually hippo. Hippo get out of the water at night to graze, and they'll travel pretty serious distances if the food isn't available, and Pete's probably told you some of this anyway. But they do defecate, they do spray their dung onto a tree just like that, or a little broken branch or a bush, and they scatter that around. It's a sort of territorial or scent marking way for the males to just advertise his dominancy. And you see it, but if you were to walk past it and you didn't know what it was, then you wouldn't know that hippopotamus are in the area. So all these tiny little things you try and pick up, and you put it all together, and it creates a mental picture for you, which I think is great. Very, very important too. So folks, I know there's a lot of people that have sent their Mother's Day shout outs in, and I think one of the most fantastic things we could do is do loads of them in the fireside chat. That sounds like a perfect idea. Let's do loads of them then, and we'll be able to cover huge amount. Oh, this is lovely. Oh, this is beautiful. We'll just approach this nice and gently here. Hello, my friends. It's okay. It's okay. Beautiful scene here. Oh, this is the day of hoofed animals for me. Check that out. Isn't that lovely? Beautiful herd of the female kudu now. All come down. There's some 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 adult females and 2 youngsters. There's a few more over around the corner. A lot of those solitary bull buffaloes as well, but those kudus are just beautiful. Take note of how those buffaloes are lying too, folks. Little tiny things that you pick up over time. You see that those buffalo are all lying with their heads outwards and their rumps to the water. This protects them, and they can protect themselves if there was a predator to charge. They won't get a predator coming from behind there, but they may get one coming from the front, and you'll find the majority of them do that. They look after each other. Well, we'll see you after the break, and we will have something exciting, I promise. There's a hippo in there as well. Just in the middle there. It might look like a rock. Do that. Let's see what those two, they've got to be up to something. We'll see you just now. The warthog's coming up.
Well, welcome back to the bushwalk, folks, and it's good to have you back with myself and Scott. We've decided to come up to this dam after following that buffalo herd that you had us with a couple of 20 or 30 minutes ago. I must be honest with you, they kept us going and going and going and going, and eventually we couldn't follow them anymore. So myself and Scott decided to come to this dam, and we've got an old male buffalo that was busy wallowing in environment, like you'd be in a vehicle, like you'd be from the deck of a lodge or anything like that. We essentially, I must be honest with you, staring down a 1,600-pound buffalo like we have over here at the moment is a bit unnerving. He's doing what buffalo do, which is classic. He's moved away a little bit, and now he's standing and he's waiting, and it's for that reason that they are one of Africa's big 5 animals. The big 5 is an old hunting term. It means one of the 5 most dangerous animals to approach or hunt on foot, and it's for that reason that we are quite nervous of buffalo on foot. In vehicles they don't pose too much of a problem, but definitely on foot like we have it over here, we want to try and respect this guy's space. Now, myself and Scotty, we popped out of the bush, we hardly even saw him, he was covered in mud. Now he's just busy standing there, we're having a look at sunset. Couldn't be more beautiful, standing out here in the African bush, enjoying basically some quiet time with this old buffalo bull. Now if you'd like, you can send some questions to myself and Scott. Believe it or not, you can send questions to us right here where we're standing on Djuma Private Game Reserve. You can use Twitter at the hashtag #SafariLive, or you can email questions@WildEarthTV, and we'll see if we can answer some of your questions while we're having a sundowner with this buffalo. Old male buffalo like this, they're separate from the herd. Their energy levels aren't really what they used to be, and they don't really have the energy to stay with that herd that we saw a little bit earlier. These guys spend most of their days just eating in the grass adjacent to these watering points, and then they will come and lie up in these watering points during the heat of the day. They'll roll in mud, which cools them down and also gives them a coating of mud against parasites. And with them in the water, it's also a lot more difficult for lion to hunt them. They often fall prey to lion prides, obviously because they only eyes. Lions definitely do have a taste for old bull buffalo. He's not without threat to lion though. Be honest with you, even though you were having a look at those lions with Peter a little bit earlier in the afternoon, they're definitely capable of hunting a big buffalo like this. You can have a look at those huge horns, massive haunches. You know how much muscle these guys carry around with them. As we're looking at about 1,600 pounds, he's sniffing the ground over there. There's obviously something there that's got his fancy. As you can see, absolutely no.
This is beautiful, folks. Have a look at this. We have across here buffalo. A little warthog's just come down to drink. We've got a hippo there as well. We've got kudu that have just finished drinking. So serene, so peaceful. This little warthog is a diurnal creature, so it means that he's active during the day, and he's going to go off and find one of his burrows to sleep in. When I say a burrow, it'll be a disused aardvark hole normally that's renovated by him. He renovates that to make it fitting for his size, and then he will use that, and he'll have a series of those throughout the bush as little escape holes if he gets potentially into harm's way from either a leopard or a lion or any other predator. So he'll be making his way to one of those right now. And it's a bit of a dangerous time for walking through the bush for a warthog. Leopard are around at this point. At any moment a leopard could be lurking in that grass there. Most of the animals would know about it probably, because the other thing about knowing that all the animals work together, or this is like a script that they're all players in this movie. Birds give off alarm calls, squirrels give off alarm calls, loads of different animals give off alarm calls, and they all learn that from each other. So it's a bit of a relationship that they have with each other inadvertently, but they learn from each other, and it's just associating danger with that call. So they'll always, if the oxpecker makes a sound, the other animals know about it, and so on and so on. But yeah, it is a bit of a dangerous time for an animal that size. The buffalo are completely fine. They would potentially only have a threat from a really serious lion pride, but with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 male buffalo here, you'd have to be a pretty confident lion pride to take on one of these guys. And then right in the middle we've got a hippo, which you just saw with Peter, but this is a solitary male here, and he has been here for a couple of days. We see him here sometimes, and then other times he's down at Twin Dams, and he'll just wait until females come through here, and then try and keep them here into his little herd, or pod of hippos, as they're also known as a collective noun. Beautiful little serene setting here. Fantastic. You know what we're going to do, folks? We're going to roll down the hill, because I want to just take you down to a spot that I know we have hyena. There's a hyena den. I'm not sure if they're going to be there, but we can give it a good go. This is a great time for it, 5 o'clock our time. We don't go to the den after dark because the distraction there can be a little bit dangerous for the pups, or the cubs, sorry. So hyenas are called cubs, not pups, as I just mistakenly said. It's easy to fall into that slot because you think that they're more like dogs. They're actually more like cats than they are dogs. Hyena are in a very unique family, and yes, they're more cat-like than they are dog-like. Incredibly complex social animals. We'll go down and see if they're there. What a lovely drive. It's just been really special this afternoon. Lots of different beautiful species of hoofed animals. There's a nice bit of interaction between those two bulls. I thought they were having a bit of a tussle there. No, I think they're just, oh, maybe. No, one's walked off. Not interested. Not interested. A little bit of head nodding, really characteristic behaviour of buffalo. Nodding their heads and brushing them into bushes and showing their strength to each other. Sounds like a species we all know and love, doesn't it? Well, what an incredible day. Wild parenting, to me, to see those animals, many different species, and how they behave with their young is eye-opening sometimes. The protection, the care, the tender, loving care that they show towards their offspring is quite incredible. And yes, you really do know how serious a mother's job is when you become a father and you actually see that connection that the mother has with the child. And that's what I see with my wife, with my son. I didn't really know what it meant to me. I didn't really understand what it meant to me until I had a child. And my wife, hats off to her. And she's an amazing mother, so I really take my hat off to all the mothers today. Happy Mother's Day. It's an incredible job, as I said, and really, really respected. So, folks, Emma's asking a good question. Emma, you'd like to know some of the dynamics between the mothers and calves in a buffalo herd. Well, what we just saw then was the remnants of the buffalo herd moving on to another reserve, so I didn't really have a great chance to talk about them much, but they're incredibly social animals, and I think one of the most important things is to know that the structure of the herd is not that massive herd. It's small clans within that herd, and they will be looking after those calves for quite a period of time, 8-9 months, and similar to the gestation period, but the gestation period is actually 11 and a half, which is pretty incredible when you think about it. But again, I'm just going to stick my nose in really quickly, I promise. I just want to have a look and see if these hyenas are here, ever so quickly. I told you I would, so I can't drive past it. If they're there, we'll have a quick glimpse, and then I've got to head off. Just a quick look at them. So 11 and a half months, and Emma, the reason why that is because they, again, another species that has to hit the ground running. So they're quite caring. They would defend their calves ferociously, absolutely ferocious parental care, and the whole herd will band together. If a predator comes and tries to take a calf, the whole herd will band together and try and push that predator off. I've seen this most extraordinary thing happen in South Africa, in Kruger once, where a lion did get hold of a young calf. He wasn't a real young calf. He was strong enough to try and hold on for dear life. And goodness, I could smell something, that's for sure. Just arriving at the hyena den. I'll just pull up in front of it. I don't think they're around. I think they're probably out either hunting or scavenging. But I'll just show you where they live ever so quickly, and then I've got to move off for our fireside chat. But that's the den hole there. You can just see. I'll just try and get in there a little bit closer for you. Just see behind that bush there's 2 holes there, and that's where the hyenas are denning at the moment. 3 cubs to 2 females, the alpha female and another female, which happens occasionally. 1 cub to the alpha female, the other female, and 2 cubs to the alpha, I think. But they're not here at the moment. It's always worth stopping in just to see if anyone's home at Hyena Heights, I like to call it, up on this hill. But just to finish your question, Emma, hopefully that sheds a bit of light on it for you. Very social, very caring, and much like wild cattle really, but will defend those calves like nothing I've ever seen when it comes to a hoofed animal. Other than elephant, buffalo are the force to be reckoned with. And I saw that thing happen in Kruger, and the buffaloes came and saved the calf and pushed the line off. Pretty incredible stuff. So I'm going to head up now to our fireside and get that all sorted. So folks, I'll see you very shortly. We're going to take a break, and I'm sure there's going to be something great coming for you on Safari Live after the break. See you just now. Okay, mate, I think we'll just go with me coming to the fireside chat now and setting up. Are you happy with that, mate?
Well guys, if you are still with us in the vehicle, the wind's picking up a little bit, beautiful skies. As I said, I've lost all radio comms, which is just Mr. Murphy playing a game of fun with us. But we are heading back. For now, you're going to go to Hayden or to Stefan. They're going to chat to you, and we're going to be making our way straight back towards the campfire chat. We will see you soon.
Check that, guys. Have a look at that, folks. Whoa, 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 whoa. What a sunset this is going to be. This is for Mother's Day. Wow, look at that. That's what Africa's all about. Finishing the day with something that special. Goodness me, this is going to be a corker. Wow. I'm excited. I'm excited. You can smell it. You can smell this place. Let's pan around here. Always keep our eyes open up here. Have a look at that sunset. Isn't that incredible? Look at that. Copy that. Are you with me? Yeah. Well, welcome back, folks. Look at that. That's incredible. Absolutely magnificent sunset. That is so beautiful. This is what Africa's all about, folks. At the end of the day, Just a magnificent sunset going down there, and this sky is going to light up. It's going to be absolutely incredible. And the colours and the hues of the sky mixed with those beautiful greens of those silver cluster leaves in the foreground and marula trees over in the far. Absolutely superb. Control, do you copy? Who's on camera? This is absolutely magnificent. Just had a little communication little hiccup there, folks. I wasn't sure whether you were with us or you weren't. Just sometimes there's a little glitch now and again, and that's absolutely fine. When you think about it, we're beaming this signal out of the back of a 4x4 to a repeater station, and then to a satellite, and then to the UK, and then to the States, and it is a pretty amazing thing to be doing. It's a really incredible experience to be part of, and sometimes we have these little glitches, and that's what live television is all about. You know, little hiccups, you just deal with them, you just talk about them, and you explain to them. I think that's a really nice thing, to know that you are part of the team and you are with us all the way. So you see it, rawness, you see the reality, you see everything with it, and it's great for you to know what goes on behind the scenes. I've just pulled up at the fireside chat at the moment, and we're about to get set up, and when we get set up we'll come back and we'll be ready for you for a fantastic, absolutely fantastic half hour of all the behind the scenes, really intimate stuff, and really look forward to that. Have you had a good time so far? I've had a good time. This is my last drive for a while, so I feel a little bit no, every time I come down here and I do a stint on Safari Live, I feel so privileged. But when it's your last drive, you do get a little bit sad, but at the same time you feel like you've just had an uplifting experience. It's incredible. And I think that's what the really important thing about this Safari Live is. You're with us every step of the way. You know what we've been through. We've been through to get here, and broadcasting live from the African bush is like nothing I've ever done in my life. It's one of the best things, or probably the best thing I've ever done in television. So what we're going to do now is cross over to Steph. Steph is an incredible guy. Steph and Scott has added a completely new facet to Safari Live, and really incredible stuff to see what they come up with. They've put us on to so many leopard and so many other things. So we're going to cross over to Steph, and we'll see you just now.
Well, welcome back to the bushwalk with myself and Scott this afternoon, or at sunset. And guess what? We've decided to come and sit exactly where the quarantine male leopard that you saw yesterday was sitting. We just so happened to find it yesterday. We were moving from shady spot to shady spot after a tip off from Peter, who said that he thinks he saw a track on this one road junction. We got there, we found the tracks. We established the direction. We then came in on the tracks. We were heading from shady patch to shady patch. We spied this magnificent weeping boerbean tree from far away, and when Scott and I scanned it with the binoculars, we found the quarantine male lying exactly where I'm sitting right now. Isn't it fantastic that we can be live in your rooms wherever you are, and we can be sitting where you saw a leopard not even 24 hours ago. It's really one of the most amazing things about a bushwalk. And where we're sitting is actually a termite mound. Now, termite mounds, there's a long debate about how old termite mounds are. Just judging from the tree that's obviously growing on top of the termite mound, this termite mound is in the hundreds of years old. These But these weeping boerbean trees can go to 600, 700 years old. They're incredibly hard wood. And they are growing, they're slow growing trees, and he's growing on top of this termite mound. So can you imagine how old this is? What we're going to be doing, we're going to be going to ad break, and we will catch you after the ad break. Myself and Scott are going to be coming back to you from the termite mound, and we will be seeing you in a second. Alright, so Scott's going to try and show you what's growing on top of this termite mound. So Scott's busy showing you what's growing around this. Exactly where you're looking now is where we saw Quarantine from. That's where we were standing. That's when we saw him sitting exactly where I'm sitting at the moment. Scott and I came down there, we saw him from there, and then exactly where I'm lying. I can do an impression of what he was doing. Actually his head was this way. He was lying down pretty much like this. This is the part that we could see, and he was flicking his tail and he was moving his leg. And then as far as I know from the footage that was shown to you, he actually climbed into the tree behind us and he was lying on the branch. Now, leopard don't only use their claws to climb trees, but their pads are quite rough. They've got quite a rough pad. And so it's not sticky as such, but it definitely adds some or other type of adhesive effect. And they climb trees incredibly easily. They have a wrist that can lock, which means it can go almost solid. And they hang on their claws and their pads, and then they walk up, just like your cat does at home, very similar to the way that your cat climbs at home. They don't climb all trees, funnily enough. They can, of course, if they get chased into a tree, but they don't climb all trees. But definitely boerbeans like this, jackalberries, marulas. What else, Scott, have you seen them sitting in?
Knobthorns occasionally.
Knobthorns occasionally. So they have a variety of trees, but generally there's just a few trees that they like to sit in, not all of them. And you can see from the growth on this particular termite mound that the trees that are growing on them are particular trees. Not all trees can grow on termite mounds. And I'm actually going to ask you a question. You're welcome to suggest some reasons why only some trees grow on top of termite mounds and not others. You're welcome to send through those suggestions to questions@WildEarthTV, or you can tweet them at #SafariLive, and I'm sure that I'll have some of the answers come through to you, and we'll get back to you with a couple of the winners.
I thought I heard someone calls earlier.
I did, yeah. Scott and I are just sitting in an elevated position on top of this termite mound, and both of us heard alarm calls. Now, they've stopped making the noise. It's one of the beauties of being on foot, is that you can actually listen to the bush around you. You don't have to switch an engine off. And it's just so easy to carry on driving an entire drive and never switch the car off, because there's always another corner to go around. When in actual fact, being like we are, sitting in an elevated position, listening to the bush around us, is actually where it is. Okay, we've got 30 seconds of TV. Past the equator. Now back to this fantastic old tree that's behind me. The boerbean, the actual common name is the weeping boerbean. And it's weeping because it's one of the very first trees in springtime to get its flowers. And it gets these huge globular clusters of red flowers that absolutely drip and weep nectar. And after a very... Got some noise behind us. It's always good to keep your eyes open, folks, when you are when you're in the bush like we are, and definitely to be reactive to noises. I can't see anything.
I think it's thunder.
It's thunder. You're right. We've got a thunderstorm rolling in. That's just the wind that's creating a bit of a problem for us. But not to worry, folks. Scott and I have been doing this for so many years now. Little things like thunder don't really scare us too much. So back to the globular flowers. They're red globular flowers that absolutely drip nectar, and animals and birds of all types just flock to these trees in springtime because they've had a long dry winter, of course. And then boerbean. So the first part of the name is weeping, the second part of the name is boerbean. Boer is the Afrikaans vernacular name for farmer, and the reason for that is that the farmers, the settlers in this area where the tree used to grow, used to take the beans and roast them and turn them into a coffee substitute. As you can imagine, in the settlers' days, as I can imagine it would have been in your countries as well, getting dry stores was often very difficult to do, and you had to use the bush and use the natural environment around you to make do with what you had. And this was one of the trees that provided three nice things. Provided a good wood for timber, termite resistant, provides a fantastic place where you can come and look at animals and the flowers and a nice table decoration, and obviously a seed that can be roasted and ground up for coffee. Now, I love these trees. Oh, and a handy place to come and have a look for leopard in if you're worried about it. So, we are going to be going into an ad break in a short while. We're going to be going into an ad break very, very shortly. And on the other side of the ad break, you're going to be joining us at the fireside chat. And we will see you there.